have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay?
Welcome to Elevating Lives. My name is Charles Evdos, and I'm the Executive Director of Rise Life Services. Today I have two great guests, Tracey Andersen and Kaitlin Fibkins, and they're going to talk about our new outpatient clinic and the services we provide. Tracey, tell us a little bit about the outpatient program and what you do at Rise.
Okay, so I started at Rise about 5 years ago, and I started in the behavioral health arena, just working with individuals with developmental disabilities, working more on issues they had in their behavioral health issues. And we had a very small department, and I worked very hard to expand that and bring additional services not only to our department, develop our department, but bring clinical services to other areas of the agency, because as is in the field, there's still a very siloed approach in a lot of ways to clinical services. And so when you wanted to broach the topic of having an outpatient clinic, I was very excited, and very excited to be part of this, to be able to bring mental health services to the larger agency and to the community of Riverhead and surrounding areas. There's a large need for mental health services in the area, and very excited to be part of the process. Yeah.
And so am I, believe me. Kaitlin, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Rise.
So I've also been with Rise for about 5 years now, and I started as a case manager, which transitioned into a benefits and entitlement specialist for all of our individuals that reside in our residential program. And now most recently I transitioned to our clinic, and I'm now a clinical therapist there, and I'm a social worker, so I'm very excited for this opportunity. And I've been working in this field now for almost 6 years with mental health and developmental disabilities. So I see the need for this service, as Tracey said. So I'm excited to get this clinic running and opening and to provide the services to the people that need it.
That's great. Tracey, tell us a little bit about the new, when is it going to open up? What services are we going to provide?
Okay. So we anticipate opening September 1st. We will be providing the full array of clinical services on the outpatient basis. So it will be everything from assessment to crisis intervention, medication management, treatment planning, mental health counseling, behavioral services, group therapy, individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy. And yeah, we'll be working on basically any kind of need that individuals present with that they're struggling with in their lives.
Is it going to involve children also?
Yes, so it'll be children that are ages 3 and up. So it's really any age 3 and up.
No. Now, how do you see the new services intermingling or interlocking with the current services we provide at Rise?
We have actually, you'd be surprised, we have a number of individuals who are not connected to treatment for one reason or the other. There's a lack of providers in the area. Providers in our area have waiting lists of weeks and sometimes months. Some providers are able to also pick and choose, or they're just not, they don't have expertise in certain areas. So for example, our individuals that are, have a primary developmental disability who also have a co-occurring disorder of a mental illness, a lot of people aren't comfortable if they don't have expertise in that area. So luckily, Kaitlin and I both have expertise with both areas and are comfortable. And so we really will be able to marry the service to the need for both, for all different types of populations that we work with. So we currently have individuals with developmental disabilities, with mental illness, with substance abuse disorders. So we're really going to be able to, again, stop the gap and the silo approach and come at this from a real holistic and systemic and systems approach to the clinic. So I'm really excited to be able to do that.
Great.
Yeah.
I know at the East End, providing service for outpatient service has been a problem. That's why we hope that opening up the outpatient clinic will help the community on the East End. Also with the pandemic And in my opinion, with the marijuana being legalized down the road, I think that's going to also increase outpatient services dramatically. Tell us, the pandemic, where have you seen extra services provided, the need for it? I know, I'm not a doctor, so what?
Well, I can speak a little bit about, for example, suicide rate, which has been steadily increasing since the early 2000s, with dips and steadying, leveling out here and there, especially if you look at specific ages or populations. But overall, the national level has risen and risen. And previous pandemics have only shown that it will cause the suicide rate to further spike. And what this pandemic has, multi-factors that could exacerbate things. So we do expect to see an increase in that as well. So for example, economic hardship, social isolation, the media coverage, these are all things that are going to unfortunately impact those situations. Plus we have a very challenging political climate, a very challenging cultural climate, and so I anticipate that the needs are just going to increase again phenomenally.
Will the new outpatient clinic be able to provide medication, treatment for doctor looking at the patient, prescribing medication?
Yes, so we'll have either a psychiatric nurse practitioner or a psychiatrist always on our staff, and they'll be able to prescribe medication, provide medication injections to somebody that may need an injectable psych medication. And we'll also have our social workers, our LCSWs, which is a licensed clinical social worker, our licensed master social workers, or a licensed psychologist always on. So medication is always going to be readily available if needed.
Now, what are going to be the hours of operation for your clinic?
We're going to be open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and then we're going to be open 2 evenings, Tuesdays and Thursdays currently, until 8, as well as on-call 24/7. So we will be able to be reached pretty much around the clock.
Right. I know my wife was a retired BOCES teacher. She dealt with the mostly disturbed children. Unfortunately, she has a mostly disturbed husband. so if
Come to our clinic, Charles.
if I needed services, how would I go about it? I've got a problem, or I'm depressed. What do I do?
So there's a couple different ways. You can call our helpline, or you could just call the main office, which is 631-727-6220 number, and then you can be connected to either me, Tracey, or any of the clinical staff, and you can set up an appointment for an intake. You could also walk in any day you want that we're opened, and you can make an appointment there.
So basically, you can walk in and see a social worker
Yes.
anytime, pretty much?
If you are walking into our doors and you are in, I'm going to say in crisis, and you need to see somebody, yes, we will see you, and we will help you get the services that you may need at that exact moment.
So if I come in with my child, what do I do with my child?
We have a beautiful children's waiting area with all brand new and also delicately previously loved toys and activities. We have children have their own waiting area, their own lobby. So if you bring your child in, we're going to either greet you at the door and direct you to that area, or we would know in advance that you are coming, or if you've been there before, you would know to directly go to that area with the child. And so you'll be almost in a separate, safe location where there'll be things for you and your child too.
And the child will have supervision, of course, I hope?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Today, mental health services the demand is great. Where do you see RISE providing future services? I mean, whether it's mental health or special needs or whatever it may be, where do you see the future?
We actually already have plans to expand. As you know, the agency acquired another space in the Huntington area, which I'm sure you can speak to, and we hope to develop the clinic in Riverhead within a few short months, and then also be able to expand immediately into the Huntington area and bring the clinical services to that area as well. And that space is beautiful, and we're very excited to be able to reach another demographic.
Now that's great. I know the No Walls program, the adult program, will be there also. But the beauty of that building is it's going to become a cultural center.
Yes.
It'll have dance, music, ballet, whatever it may be, whatever culture arts out there, It'll be the first of its kind, I believe, in America. So I'm looking forward to that also. I'm excited, just like each of you are, and I think that's going to be a great addition. The other big piece we added was that helpline, correct? Tell us a little bit about that.
So the helpline that we have, anybody can call that for services that they need. If it's a mental health service, if it's a developmental or intellectual disability and they have questions regarding OPWDD services, they can call that helpline and we can get them the answers to anything. And if we don't have that answer, we'll find them the answer.
Yeah, that's great, because I know I get calls all the time. Parents will say to me, hey, Charlie, my grandson has CP or developmental disability. What do I do? And there's panic, and basically if they call that number, we can help guide them, at least taking the right first steps instead of wandering around not knowing what to do. So that's important. Tracey, how did you come, I know you started 5 years ago.
At Rise, yes.
What made you come to Rise? What do you find interesting about Rise?
Well, okay, so Rise, okay, when I was younger, I started as an educator initially. And at the same time that I was working towards my degree in education, I was working as a DSP for an agency that worked with developmental disabilities. And then I simultaneously worked at another agency where I was a counselor, and we worked with people with mental illness. So right at a very young age, I saw that, again, that silo effect happening. And I thought, wow, I'd really like to do something about this. And then I was immediately promoted, and I was an operations director in a residential agency. And I thought, wow, I can really start to make change here. So I started writing grants. And the other things, I was working in the school system with the children as a school psychologist at that point, and then in the residential world as well. So the first grant that we wrote was for family program. And then the next grant that I wrote was for an ACT team. And so then I got much more interested in the clinical end of things. And then I was on a mobile crisis team, and then I did a suicide hotline, and then I was a clinical director in the city. And so I moved out to Long Island, and I came to Rise. The department, the behavioral health department, was very small when I started, as you know, 1.5 of us. And it was the first agency on Long Island that I worked in that worked with more than one population, believe it or not. In the city, I had worked for agencies that did that. So I said, how can I bring what I've learned in my life and my career to this agency and to this area? And so I was very excited that you were open to that, and that the other directors of the residential programs were open to that. So we were able to bring behavioral services into the OMH programs, which again really hasn't been done. So, yeah.
That's great. You're a great addition to the Rise Life Services. Kaitlin, tell us a little bit more about yourself. How did you come to Rise? What do you like about Rise? What you don't like about Rise? Put the pressure.
So I started actually at the same time as Tracey. We were in orientation together. What a coincidence. And I had just recently graduated with my bachelor's in sociology and criminology. And I was just looking for an introduction to the field. I had been doing things upstate New York with CPS, and I knew that was not necessarily where I wanted to go at that moment. So I was looking for something in the mental health field. I applied to Rise, and I got hired as the case manager, not knowing that there was also intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities with Rise. And that was amazing. I didn't know much, and I learned so much from everyone at Rise and the whole population there. And I then realized that this was something I wanted to do forever.
That's great. And
went to school, got my master's at the same time that I was working at Rise. I also got some experience in domestic violence and at a mental health day program. So I was able to bring that experience from my domestic violence, the shelter I was at, and the mental health day program, and bring it back to Rise and kind of get a bigger picture of the overall field. And yeah, that's really where I've been, and I've been there since. And I love it.
Now, managed care is coming down through the pipeline. The residential services, in my opinion, should be carved out. I'm hoping that it will. I think managed care is going to be a disaster, in my opinion, but I can't control that. But tell us how managed care is going to affect your field, the outpatient clinics. I mean, I know there's going to be limitations on visits or services or whatever it may be, and I feel it's going to be a disaster. But tell us,
Well, I will say I had a private practice, and I've already been working with some of the insurance companies, and I had also heard very negative things about it. But I have to say that my experience in working with the insurance companies was overall very positive. It was very much different than what I had anticipated. I did think that I was going to be questioned in the services that I was providing, in the way that I did my work and things like that. But honestly, they were very respectful overall. And so far we are credentialed with Medicaid. We are in the credentialing process currently. We anticipate we'll be accepting all major insurance plans soon, as well as Medicare. And what we're told, again, from the other clinics that we're in contact with, we have a wonderful outpatient director starting next week, and the psychiatric nurse practitioner is starting, and both of them have been working in these types of clinics, and they're saying that it is not going to be as horrific as, again, what we're hearing, and that we should be able to provide services without worrying too much that insurance companies were going to cap us and things like that.
So basically, we're going to be providing services to the outside community.
Yes.
It's not only just for RISE, it's basically anybody in Suffolk, I guess, or the East End that needs this type of service will hopefully seek RISE out, and we can provide it, correct?
Yes, yes.
We actually got 3 referrals the other day from Nassau, and we're like, you're welcome to come to us,
But
but
it's a
that's a
long
very
trip.
far trip.
Well, when we open up in Huntington,
Exactly, yes.
that might be a good choice.
And if people are really in need, we will be able to offer mental health services. So if that is the best format for providing treatment to an individual, if they can't get treatment where they are, we could deliver services in that way. So that is another benefit.
That's great. One area I want to talk about is our direct care workers. During the pandemic, many people suffered in America, went through a lot. Doctors, nurses, first responders were all considered essential employees. So is our staff. The problem that we're having, and many agencies out there are having, the direct care worker, even though they're classified as an essential employee, the state does not fund us enough to give them more than $14 to $15 an hour. And that irks the hell out of me, pardon my language here. But really, a direct care worker needs to make at least $20 an hour, minimum. Connecticut was smart enough to raise it to $20 an hour. New York State has over $900 million basically sitting in a bank account right now, earning interest, and they need to really get on the horse here and distribute some of that money so we could raise the salary of these individuals to $20 an hour. It's a crime, and I say to New York, enough is enough. You have to do that now. Now that I got off that subject and that temperament of mine, tell us a little bit more about the outpatient clinic. How do we make it better? And I know we're starting off small.
Yes. Well, one nice thing that we didn't mention so far is that although we will have some bilingual staff, we will also be working with a translation service, which I've worked with in the past and worked very, very well, and we'll be able to provide services in over 300 languages and dialects. So that's
300?
Yes. Yes.
Wow, I can only speak 250.
I know, and I know I told you the wrong number the other day. But yeah, so that's very, very exciting.
That's great.
So there will be a lack of that barrier.
That's great.
Yes.
Kaitlin, anything that you see that in the future we need to do?
I think Tracey brought up the language barrier, which is a huge barrier right now. I also think the other barrier would be people that cannot get to us, which we also discussed. But we're going to be doing telemental health. So for those people who may not be able to get on a bus, get transportation to come to us, we will be able to bring them those services. So I think that is a huge gap in services currently, but we'll be able to provide that to pretty much anybody, as long as they can have some type of, if they have a cell phone, which they can get a Medicaid cell phone if they have Medicaid. So we will be trying to help those people to obtain all the services they can get.
And what's the address where people can come to?
So it's our main location in Riverhead, our currently main location, which is 901 East Main Street. We are Suite 500, and that's in Riverhead, 11901.
Where can they find us online?
So our website is riselifeservices.org, and on there they can find our information, they can find our phone numbers, and they can contact Tracey, myself, or anybody and get additional information.
And my extension is 220.
And I'm 209.
Okay, great. Now, we have 2 food pantries. We also now have a truck that delivers food to the community, pretty much people that, elderly, disabled, whatever. That's a great thing. Are we going to be able to intermingle the food pantry piece with the outpatient piece? Are we going to have representatives out there talking to see how we can help those individuals? Because I'm sure many of them have issues and they need to be helped.
So I think we can definitely work with our food pantry staff, and when they're going out into the community, we can have them, they should know our services. We can also give a pamphlet so that they can give the information out to the people that they're bringing food to, and if the person did need services, that they can then call us or come to the main location, however they want to get in contact with us and set up services. So of course we could definitely intermingle those
That'll be
two
great.
services.
When somebody comes in, we'll be doing a full assessment on basically all of their needs. And so if it's identified that that is a need that we can certainly fulfill, absolutely. And if there's needs that we can't fulfill, we'll also be providing linking services to other resources in the area. But it's wonderful that we have within our own agency some of these services that other agencies just simply don't.
Right.
So
I know the food pantry, we do not get any funding from anybody. We count on donations. And basically, the need for the hungry on Long Island has gone up 300% since the pandemic started. It's a major issue. And we're trying to address it as best as we can, but we need donations to keep the program going. It really is really important. And if if you want to make a donation, go to riselifeservices.org. There's a little donation button. Do whatever you can, $1, $10, $100, whatever you can afford to do. Please donate it. We're also having an event on September 18th at the East Islip Marina. It's called the Bayside Clam Bar. It's called Food Stock. It's going to start from 1 o'clock and go to 6 o'clock. And we have 3 different bands. The first band is Penny Lane, which will do Beatles music, of course. And we have a Beach Boys band and a James Taylor tribute band. So it should be a lot of fun. Monday, the 20th, September 20th, we have our first golf outing, and the proceeds from the golf outing will also go to help the food pantry. That's our goal, to raise money. Probably, we'd like to raise at least $100,000 so we can keep the food pantry open and going. So we count on your support. Please make a donation. Please come to the event. We'd love to have you there. Again, go to our website. Look at our pages. You can see what we're truly about. We're probably the best kept secret on Long Island. My hope is that will no longer be the case. We're trying to get out there. We're trying to tell people we can help you. We provide the service that you need. And if we can't help you, we'll direct you in the right place. If you need a tour of the agency, please contact me. I'll be happy to give you a tour, talk to you about the agency, what we do, whatever questions you have, we'll answer it. Email me at riselifeservices@riselifeservices.org. If I don't get back to you within 24 hours, that means I'm on vacation or I'm no longer on this planet. I do take my job very seriously, and I really could be retired right now, but I love what I'm doing. I have a passion for this job, and I have a staff that's also passionate, and they're caring. And we look forward to meeting you, greeting you, and we hope that you will support RISE in the future. I thank you for helping us. Again, thank you so much, everybody. And that concludes.